There's a specific kind of high performer that nobody talks about. Not the one who isn't working hard enough, not the one who lacks discipline or drive, the one who's executing at an extremely high level and slowly building a life they don't actually want. More revenue, more output, more achievement, and somewhere underneath all of that, more emptiness. It's clearly not a performance problem, it's a direction problem, and more effort is the last thing that's going to fix it. The most dangerous place a high performer can be isn't at the bottom. It's at the top of the wrong mountain. Because if you're disciplined, driven, and executing at a high level, but none of it's anchored to who you actually are, you don't fail slowly, you actually succeed your way into a life that doesn't even fit. And more effort is the last thing that fixes it. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I see it far too often. The self-development industry has built an entire ecosystem around optimizing performance. But almost none of what it teaches asks whether the performance is pointed in the right direction. You might have found something that you felt you wanted to sink your teeth into and excel at, and everyone else on social media was doing it, so you felt it was the right thing to do, and so you went all in, balls to the wall, executing at a high level, relentlessly. But you may not have taken the time to really dig deep within yourself and ask, why am I doing this thing? Is it something that's going to get me to the place that I want? Will I be able to live my idealized life in the now versus in the perspective 10, 20, 30 years in the future? And maybe you were willing to delay that gratification because it made you a hustler, it made you a grinder, and you're willing to sacrifice those early years to have freedom. And really, that's the catch with being a high achiever, a high performer, is when you're wired for high performance, the mechanism that makes you successful is the same one that keeps you locked in once you've felt a little bit of that success. And so therefore, you don't question the direction, you just execute harder. You keep that pedal to the metal. But what that also means is you don't take the time to stop and think and check in with yourself on all the progress that you've made, and if it still looks like the life that you said that you wanted when you first started your business or the journey of whatever you're doing. And maybe you don't even realize some of the turns that you took along the way. And so where you're sitting right here, right now, watching this video is you're a driven person with a super strong output and external success markers everywhere. The money, the cars, the watches, the social media following, the employees, but a growing internal disconnection. Relationships are strained. Your personal life feels hollow. Your identity is narrowing down to the work itself. And the tricky thing is, you're a high performer, so guess what your instinct is? Well, the instinct for high performers when something feels off is you set more goals. You do more. You keep grinding. And you try to fix it through output, but you cannot execute your way out of a direction problem. You can only go further in the wrong direction faster. And it's hard to really even notice it or catch it because the same drive that built the external results is amplifying the internal misalignment. And so because you're so familiar with that feeling of go, 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 achieve, 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 make everyone else see how successful and how great I am. And I'm not saying it's not okay to have that drive, but think about it this way. Think of that supercar in your driveway. You have a high performance engine, it's tuned, it's capable, it produces results. But you take that Ferrari engine and you put it in the wrong vehicle, you're headed in the wrong direction. And at that point, more horsepower is not going to help you. It's just going to get you to the wrong place even faster. You're going to find yourself miles off your originally intended course, confused as to why so many people told you how beautiful your engine was and how great it sounded and how fast you were and all these things. But there you are, sitting in a place totally different from what you had imagined from when you started the drive. And so the engine isn't the problem here, the vehicle is. And most high performers spend their entire career upgrading their engine, fine-tuning every little piece, without ever questioning the vehicle that that engine is operating in. The vehicle that that engine is in is your identity, the roles you've taken on and that you embody on a day-to-day basis, the values, stated or unstated, that are quietly running your decisions and the way that you operate. When those aren't defined deliberately with intention, they get defined by default, by what your industry rewards or what social media rewards, what your friends or acquaintances a reward, maybe by what your parents valued that you were used to growing up, or even what you valued when you first started out at 20, 21, 22. And then you spend the next decade executing at a high level inside a structure that was never actually yours. But you wouldn't have known it because you never took the time to think about the vehicle that you were in. Think about the last time that you hit a goal and felt nothing. That's not a lack of gratitude, it's misalignment. And the cost of operating outside of alignment with who you are goes far beyond business. It isn't just a revenue problem or an execution problem. The longer it runs, the more it bleeds into everything else. Maybe your marriage, friendships, employees, organizational dynamics. And the people closest to you, they begin to experience the version of you that's left over after all the work takes whatever it needs. And maybe the hardest part for you is from the outside, everything looks great. And so A, you don't want anyone to find out that it's really not, or B, it makes it even harder to even tell yourself what's actually wrong and put a name on it. And so you start looping even deeper and deeper, needing to grind your way out of it and do better in the business so you can be less stressed. Well, listen, I'm not gonna tell you that the fix is to work less. It's not. And as a high performer, I know that's not gonna happen. But what you can fix and what you can prioritize is getting clear on the vehicle before you keep upgrading that engine. That means getting structured and crystal clear about 3 things in a specific order before any optimization, any scaling, any systems work begins. And the first is your roles, who you are and how you show up for the people around you. Then it's your values, your operating values, and the way that you make decisions and filter what is meaningful and what is not, what is just and what is not. And then lastly, your goals. In that sequence, that is the work. If you end up doing them out of order, you will continue to face the same problems, setting goals, building the wrong vehicle, and convincing yourself that as long as you keep tuning that engine, you'll get to where you want to go. This is the very conversation that I have with every single client before anything else. Because if you don't get this right, not much else really matters in the long run. I've seen what happens when people skip this, and it's really not fun. Because the longer you keep driving in that wrong direction and keep embodying the wrong vehicle, the wrong identity, the more concrete that identity begins to become, and the harder it is to break out of it and hit that reverse or take the detour back in the right direction. You can build an extraordinary machine with the most premium materials, the most horsepower. But if it's pointed in the wrong direction, all you've done is guarantee that you arrive at the wrong direction with more certainty. If you watch this video and you recognize that feeling, not failure, but the specific discomfort of succeeding in the wrong direction, that recognition right there, that is the starting point. And so if you're realizing that maybe it's time to redirect, to reground, and figure out why you've been feeling that, and start to chart a path and put in that GPS the right direction with the right vehicle, well, you don't have to do it alone. So go to my Instagram at Jesse H. Hoffman and comment the word clarity or DM it to me directly, and we can start that conversation of what it looks like. So take a moment, ask yourself, are you in the right vehicle? And I hope you consider checking out some of my other videos. I have a lot more value coming to you. I'll see you on the other side. Peace.